Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today we'll be discussing the latest book from Newbery Honor and Coretta Scott King Author Honor awardee, author Derrick Barnes, and equally talented award-winning illustrator Vanessa Brantley Newton. It's such an honor speaking with you both and hearing a reading today. So today we'll be talking about their latest book, The Queen of Kindergarten. So it's Labor Day weekend. Who is starting and preparing for school this week? Right, show of hands. Yeah? It's already started? Was it a great first day? Yeah? So you're going to really love talking and hearing about this book. The Queen of Kindergarten tells the story of MJ Malone, who's excited for her first day of school. So we have readers in the audience, so you know what I'm talking about. This week was the first day of school for a lot of you, and I feel like this will be, sorry, I already said that, will be really fun. So bring the excitement, okay? MJ is preparing for her first day. Her hair is freshly braided, and she's wearing her mom's special tiara. With it on, she's confident and ready to make friends, share her food, play soccer, and impress everyone with her skills and her personality. So, Vanessa and Derrick, I know you're also the creators of the New York Times bestseller King of Kindergarten, which we have here today, whose protagonist also prepared for his first day with lots of excitement. I'd like to ask you both, why was it important to tell MJ's story? Let's talk about the process of getting, MJ and the Queen of Kindergarten written.
Well, first I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you for coming. So glad to see everyone. This is actually our sixth book together. Vanessa's like a big sister to me. I love her so much. She's my favorite illustrator. I don't tell my other illustrators that though, but I love working with her so much. We have a pretty good chemistry. The first book, King Kindergarten, which came out in 2019, this book was based on my youngest son. My wife and I have four boys. My youngest son's name is Namdi. And like most of you all parents out there, I put a post up on Facebook of my sons on their first day of school. And it got a lot of likes, and had so many likes, it reached an editor at Penguin Random House, which asked me if I could write a book about a little black boy starting school for the first time. And I had done it 4 times, so I'm like an expert. So I was like, cool, yes, I can do that. So I wrote this book in third person. And so it's like very, affirmational. And I kind of base it on my own experience with our boys. I have something called the Daddy Summer Get Right Camp. So when they're 4 years old heading into kindergarten, I have them memorizing quotes and poems. Obviously, we go over math and handwriting and everything. We go on field trips. And so that they get ready. And obviously, this is our first time, many of you, sending your babies out into the world for the first time. And the hope is, at least I hope we all are on the same page. We all trying to send good people out into the world.
Yeah.
And being a king or a queen has nothing to do with lording over people, but
That's right.
making sure you are kind. And if you are a leader, you are making the kind of decisions where people want to follow you. They cheer you on, and you know what I mean? So I made sure that I instilled that in all 4 of my boys, and I wrote a book about it. And with the Queen, we don't have a daughter, so I kind of based this character on my wife, who's kind of the polar opposite of who I am. I'm very laid back and chill, and my wife is like the person in the center of the dance floor. She's the star of the show. So I said, we had a daughter, she would probably be like this character. And I wrote it in first person because I wanted the reader to experience her full personality. And I didn't have any problems worrying about the illustrations, about how colorful it would be, because my sister Vanessa did an excellent job. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but she did a masterful job. Vanessa, please talk about your illustrations and your whole process and how you made MJ so beautiful.
Oh, my goodness. First of all, I enjoy being here with all of you this morning. I love working with Derrick Barnes. If I had my choice of author to work with, he would definitely be the author that I would work with every single time. And I'm not just saying that. He makes it easy for me to do what I do. As an illustrator, I'm very, very visual. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of these wonderful faces in the audience, because somebody's gonna end up in a book. I'm telling you.
That's right.
Somebody will, yes, you in particular I already picked out. But you will end up in the book. And it's because of this weird way that I'm built. Photogenic memory, that's something that I have. And so when I saw Derek and Tinka, I already knew what their baby would look like. And in my head, MJ was going to look a little bit like Derek, but she was going to be more like Tinka in her attitude. And that's what I loved so much about creating this character. I watch your babies. When you go to the supermarket, I'm the weird lady that's behind you smiling, like every time you turn around. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, because I know they're driving you crazy right now, but it's going to be all right. And I collect that, and I put it into books. I put it into every character, even down to my teachers. I never want my teachers to look frumpy or strange, so I really go overboard with dressing my teachers. They look like Derek, or they look like my sign lady here. I love her hair. I love her outfit. So I'm going to make a teacher that looks like her. And so when drawing these characters, they're very important to me because I want every baby in this room, every child in this room, when they open a book that is illustrated by me or written by Derek, I want you to see yourself. Because if you can see yourself, you can be yourself and you can free yourself.
I agree. Yes.
That's beautiful. Yeah, once you see yourself in a book, you know you belong and you
That's
know
it.
you have community. So you talked about MJ's and her personality and her attitude. So she brings queen energy with her. And you said it's not lording over people, it's about kindness. And so can you talk a little bit about why, like some of the examples of her kindness are she's sharing food or she's, she's leading by example. So why did you want to share that story and how? Or if you want to show a couple of illustrations as well.
Well, I'm very big on, leadership and like being the head of my household. Just examining leadership and how that works, not only from a family standpoint, but you talk about a company, at a school, or even the country. You can tell what kind of leadership you have by looking at the quality of any organization, families, countries, you know what I mean? So being kind and caring about people, to me, that is the most important aspect of being a leader because people are entrusting you to guide them.
That's right.
And so I think we need to, teach our children apathy and teach them to understand that everybody doesn't come from your household and everybody's not going to look like you. Everybody's not, you know what I mean? So I think it's so important that when, again, sending your children out into the world around other children that come from a multitude of households, that you want to make sure that you are I always tell my boys, when you walk into a room, I want you to be the light that walks into that room, that people look forward to seeing you. The teacher looks forward to seeing you. Even your peers look forward to seeing you. So, I again, just wanted to pour that into this character. MJ actually stands for Micah Jewel. It's the daughter of one of my best friends from college. And I thought he would be a bachelor forever, but he got married and got a daughter. So this is my present to him. I'm proud of him. So
That's beautiful. And MJ is literally the sunshine in the room. She enters and she says, my job, I'm going to be the window monitor. And she literally brings light in, not only with her personality and her smile and the way she treats others, but she says, this is what I want to embody. And I think that's a really beautiful message that you put that in and beautiful illustrations to show that. She's just so bright. I hope if you haven't read it, you'll love it. So Vanessa, can you talk a little bit about, you have this beautiful story of being yourself and coming in and you're not nervous and scared for your first day. You're excited and you're bringing this queen, sense of self and attitude and energy. So how was that? What was your process to show MJ?
I think often as parents or caregivers, we put our fears on our children. We wake up in the morning and, oh my God, is there going to be something bad that happens today? Are they going to have a bad attitude? What thing is going to upset them or make them feel uncomfortable? And we kind of already have that in the back of our heads as what's going to happen to them during the day. And so what I wanted to show, even with the story, was that MJ's mom and dad empowered her to be the queen. Even with the crowning and everything else, they empower her. They're not telling her about the fears during the day because they've equipped her to be kind, to be gentle, to be watchful of other people to see what they need, but still be herself. And I love that about this story. Derek has this way of talking to his boys. And in my own imagination, that's kind of really, really big. I'm still 5 years old. Y'all want to check. I'm still 5. So in my head, Derek has told me as his daughter, girl, you're going to rule the day. You are the queen of kindergarten. We're going to make you some breakfast. We're going to put on your best clothes. And you are going to shine like the light that you are. That's empowering your child. That's not putting fear into your child. And I guarantee you, it's kind of like a suit of armor that you put on your babies when you do this. You empower them that way, I guarantee you, you're going to have a child coming home at least happy. They might not get an A or a B. They might not even really have a really, really good day when they didn't act out, but you've empowered them, and you do this every day for yourself and for them. It's endless what could actually happen. So what am I telling you? Keep your scary self to your scary self. Don't you put it on your babies.
That's right.
So, speaking of empowering your children, how do you empower yourselves? You don't always have a tiara to bring with you to scary situations. So do you have any advice for our readers here on what is your metaphorical tiara?
I don't know. It's really hard to share. I feel like I was born with a lot of confidence. And a lot of that I would attribute to my mother. Before I even, discovered my superpower, which is writing, she's always been a fan of mine. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence to go out into the world and do great things. But I think it's just so important to have people in your life that love you and lift you up on a daily basis. And it's so important that we do that to people that you may not even know. I make sure I say kind things to people when I'm out. And those are things that lift me up, the circle around me, my 4 boys, my wife, having friends like Vanessa, it's so important. So that builds me up and keeps my confidence high,
And see, I love Derek's mother and his brother in particular. They really support him. And his wife, Dr. Tinka Barnes, is one amazing, incredible woman. But to have, like he said, those people around you help you to be strong. Because every day we're not having a good day. Just being honest. I just lost my sister. And to be on this stage, it's very, very hard to kind of keep it together. But we celebrated her life, and to come and to celebrate life with you through books and the power of books and the power of words. Words are super duper important. And so I want to say things that leave the right kind of mark on you. When you think about me, when you look at me, or you think about something that Vanessa said, Derek said, I hope that it lifts you and it makes you feel good. And if I'm not making you feel good, you don't need to listen to me. Just being honest with you. Because I'm all about good vibes. And I want to give good vibes to these children, that they can make it through the year, that they're protected, and that they can be whoever they want to be. Rule your world. It's not about ruling other people, but rule your world. You take control, and you say yes to you. So absolutely, take the time to encourage yourself. Absolutely.
So in this story, of course, we're following MJ through her day, and she's just bringing, light to everyone around her. And I feel like this story is also about friendships and community. And you've spoken about your friendship and your really close, familial friendship. And could we talk about how that played a role in your creative process, and maybe the role of friendship and on the playground too?
I will say for Derek, I'm gonna jump in front of Derek this time. When Derek and I became friends many years ago, it was over a book called Ruby and the Booker Boys. And it was a very good series. It was very well received by so many people. But Derek and I, in creating Ruby together, him telling me what he wanted her to wear, how he wanted her to look. And most artists don't want to hear from authors. That's the thing. In this world, we live on two different spectrums. He has his world, I have mine. Derek and I crossed. We really did. We crossed. And it was literally sitting there listening to I call him my little brother only because I'll be 60 in a second, and he ain't even 45. So
I just turned 47.
it's just 47. Yeah. He's 37 in my head. He's still 37. But it was that friendship turned into a brother and sistership. And I felt him. We sat down together and we laughed over the same things. We loved the same music. We trade music all day. He and I will go back and forth with music. It built in this wonderful part that flows in children's books, because when I'm drawing and I'm doing a story that he's done, I'm listening sometimes to the same music that he's listened to. So it's kind of like we're in the same plug, and that energy is just so high vibe. And to make you feel good, that even if you're a parent reading the book, you get to get a do-over. You get a do-over, and you get a do-over, you get a do-over. So I love that about our relationship.
Yeah.
That is really unique to have an author sign off with illustrators. I've heard that, and so I'm so happy that you guys have this relationship. We have about, let's say, 10 minutes. Do you want to do a little bit of a reading, and then we can go back to questions?
I think they have the clicker up there. Would you mind clicking
Yes,
as I go? All right.
Absolutely. Clicker?
The clicker's up there.
Is that one right there?
I think that's it.
This thing?
Yeah, I think
You can
is that the click? I think that's the clicker, right?
I think it's clicker. Yeah.
Just, go ahead. Go ahead and click it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, there we go.
All right. All right. Would you mind if I read to y'all for a little while? All right. I always start out these books with a quote. This one I started out with a quote from one of my heroes, a lady named Marion Wright Edelman. Children must have at least one person who believes in them. It could be a counselor, a teacher, a preacher, a friend. It could be you. You never know when a little love, a little support will plant a small seed of hope. And I dedicated this book to the memory of Burnett Ford, a true queen and a pioneer for people of color in publishing. She passed away 2 years ago. She gave me my first book deal. I'll always be grateful for her. And Vanessa dedicated this book in the honor and memory of one of the greatest children's book illustrators of all time, brother named Floyd Cooper. My mentor and friend, yes, Floyd Cooper. So, all right. Yay, yay, it's time for school. MJ, going to school. That's my little 3-year-old brother, Samson, waking me up with a song. He is so sweet. After I wash up, I put on my first day of school outfit. And when I'm dressed, I stand there looking at myself in the mirror just because I can. Mama washed and braided my hair last night, and it looks so good. But she always helps me look nice. Yes, she does. MJ, girl, did you just step off the cover of a magazine? Mama says. Then she tells me I'm only missing one thing, and she places a sparkly tiara on my head. I wore this on my first day of school, she says, but today you will become the queen of kindergarten. What does the queen of kindergarten do, Mama? I asked. First, us queens brighten up every room we enter. Second, we are caring and kind. And third, the good ones are always helpful to others, she says. I have a good memory, and I'm going to remember all of this. I sure will. 1, 2, 3. Then Daddy says in his deepest voice, "The royal chariot awaits, Your Highness." That means he's ready to take me to school in his pickup truck. I kiss Mama on each cheek, and we bow at each other. You know, queen stuff. At school, I let Daddy hold my hand and walk me up to the door. Poor Daddy. He doesn't want to leave. He gives me a big hug, one last look, and then he's gone. Welcome, everyone, says our teacher, Ms. Lovingood. Please look for your name card on the desk. That'll be your new home. I look left, I look right, and there it is, MJ Malone. I decorate my name card with drawings of my 4 favorite things: dolphins, comets, skyscrapers, and my piggy bank. I get excited when Miss Lovingood says everyone will have their very own task for the entire week. I know right away which one I want, window monitor. It'll be my job to open up the blinds and let the sunlight in the room every morning. Doesn't that sound good? Plus, brightening up a room is the very first thing that Mama said us queens do, so I sure will. But Raina, the girl that sits next to me, has her head hung low, looking sad. I want to go home. But right away, I remember Mama saying that us queens are caring and kind, so I reach for Raina's hands. She grabs mine, squeezes, and then gives me a smile. That makes me feel real good, too, you know? Miss Lovingood calls on me to pick out a book for the classroom read, and I find one about a boy getting a royal haircut. Later, I help Leo put away the blocks. Helping is another queenly thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. For lunch, I have leftover spaghetti, and guess what? Raina does too. My mama says there's nothing wrong with leftovers. Yum. I promise to bring Leo some next time because sharing is my jam. At recess, Miss Lovingood teaches us how to double dutch. Me and a girl named Regina twirl the ropes like twin tornadoes, but it doesn't matter. Miss Lovingood has lightning in her shoes. We've never seen a grown-up's feet move so quick. And when we go back inside, we head to the art room. I make the cutest picture of Samson. And then we go to the music room and I hit a few high notes for everybody. And I sure do love gym time too. Did I tell you how good I am at soccer? Shh, don't let the tiara fool you. And before it's time to go home, we all sit on the classroom rug that looks like planet Earth. We munch, crunch, and nibble on delicious apple slices and sandwich cookies with strawberry filling. Miss Lovingood plays soft jazz music like Mama does sometimes. She calls it wind down time, and it's the perfect way to end the day. And back home, I sure brighten Samson's day when I give him the picture I made for him, and he plants a sloppy kiss on my cheek. That boy. At bedtime, I tell Mama I did all of the nice things you listed. You did? Well, that means you get to keep that tiara. Wear it proudly, baby. I sure will, Mama. I sure will. MJ, the queen of kindergarten. That's me. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to partake too, and I wanted to sit and be read too.
You know, I was about to say, I didn't think about reading this book until I finished. I'm like, I'm going to be reading first person in a little 5-year-old girl's voice. I didn't think about that until I finished, but hopefully I did all right.
No, it was amazing. Another round of applause. Wasn't that great?
Thank you.
So I think we only have 2 minutes. Do you want to take a question from the audience? Maybe we can have a question from the audience. Does anyone want to ask something from our author and illustrator? Right here.
Okay.
How long have you been writing the books?
Oh, I started writing when I was 10. I had a wonderful teacher named Miss Shelby. I was really getting into, because I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, right in the middle of the country. And so, all right, my big brother's name is Anthony. He's 7 years older than I am. And he traveled a lot. He traveled a lot with, our family. So he would get these mixed tapes, which he introduced hip-hop music to me. So I'm forever grateful to him for that. And so I loved hip-hop music. I used to write down song lyrics. But Miss Shelby introduced me and my friend TJ to a group of poets from a period in American creative history called the Harlem Renaissance. And so I read poems from people like Langston Hughes and Countee Cullen, and so I gave it a shot. I wrote my first short story at the age of 10, and it was about, I had just finished watching 101, Dalmatians and Lady and the Tramp. So I wrote a story about these dogs traveling across the country looking for this magic bone, and I was extremely shy, but I felt really confident. about what I had written. So she allowed me to stand up and read, and it changed my life forever. I've been writing ever since. So I said, I just turned 47, so I've been writing for 37 years. Man. It's been a long time.
Good question.
What about you? How long have you been illustrating and drawing?
I've been drawing since I was 3 years old. I am dyslexic. I have something called synesthesia, which is the ability to see, smell, feel, taste, and hear color. And I am also a stutterer. So while I'm up here talking to you and not stuttering, it is only because there is a song going on in my head. My mother and father taught me that if I sang, I wouldn't stutter. So while I'm sitting here talking to you, there's a song going on in my head, and that's how I'm getting through. So that's basically how I move through life. Thank you. 5 years old, I drew on the side of the kitchen stove, and it melted down into a puddle on the floor, and I said, I'm an artist. And they said, no, you're not. You're a janitor. You're going to clean all of this up. Then they sent me to my room, and I drew in the closet, and I talked to my characters. And my characters, you know, in my head back in the day, in the 60s, I was a Hanna-Barbera girl. That's what I watched. I loved myself some Fred Flintstone, some Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse. Y'all know nothing about that. But those were the cartoons that I watched. And in my own head, they were animated. And my characters came to life. And so I just kept drawing because it was the way, like I said, I expressed myself. So as a dyslexic person, letters and numbers don't look like letters and numbers. They look like shapes. So that's basically how I learned how to draw.
That's an amazing story and like really inspirational. So I think we're at time. And thank you so much for reading, and thank you so much for sharing your stories.
You're so welcome.
Thank you,
I
guys.
really
for having
appreciate
us.
it.
If you have any books, please come by the book signing.
Yes.
What's the book signing start?